my podcast, Open Book, is moving to a new home on YouTube. It'll be linked below, but just in case, it's youtube.com/@openbookqj. So I'm going to be dropping all of my new episodes and snippets over there, as well as some highlights from my just chatting segments of every stream. We just wanted to have a home for all of my yapping, basically. It would mean a lot if you could click below and of course hit that sub button. But thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you for supporting Open Book. And thank you for listening. There's a lot coming up for Open Book that I'm very excited about. So I hope you are as excited as I am. Hello everyone. Welcome back to Open Book. I am Jodi, your host, as you know. And hey guys, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Yeah, it's been a while. Sorry about that. I can explain, which I will do shortly. But first, thank you guys so much for listening. I know that, it's been quite some time. I would love to be more consistent with this. We'll see about that. But first, I want to answer some questions that I got. And a lot of the questions related back to what app I use for affirmations. And I currently use an app called I Am. I'm pretty sure you have to pay for it, or I paid for some. I don't know what I'm paying for, to be honest, but I'm sure there is a free version. But I like it because I can set it to certain settings. Like I want to be reminded 3 times a day to have a positive affirmation. And you can give custom affirmations, or you can choose, do you want the affirmations to be about, I don't know, peace, success, whatever it may be. But I would recommend it if you're trying to get more into a positive headspace. And then another question that I got a lot was if I have a Goodreads, and I actually don't. I don't use Goodreads. I use Storygraph. So if you guys are ever curious about what I'm reading or what I've read, I've been trying to be really active on my Storygraph. So maybe for the last year, it's updated. And you can see what I've read recently, what I've rated things, my 5 stars, my to read pile, and that is QuarterJade on Storygraph. Let's see, what's new with me? My skin is shit. What's new? My skin. A lot of you guys know this already, but I have had terrible skin since I was 12 years old. I've had acne literally since I was 12, and sensitivity and reactions ever since then. I feel like a lot of it comes down to allergies, but a really cool thing is I'm seeing a naturopathic doctor who did a bunch of tests on my gut microbiome, my hormones in my blood. Basically, we're just going to try to fix my gut microbiome, which in turn hopefully fixes my skin or is the problem with my skin. So that's cool. Another update is I just saw my merch for the first time in person. I just saw someone wearing my merch. They didn't see me, and they didn't know that I saw them. And I wasn't, I don't know, I'm not going to go up to someone, I don't know, you know what I mean? But I saw someone wearing my hoodie out and about, and that, oh my God, I can't even begin to tell you. The only time I've ever seen someone wearing my merch was at TwitchCon, an event where I guess it's kind of where I'm supposed to see it. I've never just seen it. And it just makes me feel so proud. And I want to create so much more apparel, merch, whatever. That was cool. I'm obsessed with Pop Marts. If you guys don't know, there's these tiny little figurines, and I've never been into figurines, okay? But the hold that Pop Mart has on me, it's because they're cute, okay? They're totally my aesthetic, and there's so many characters. I do really like them. I don't know. I just tell myself I'm going to give them away one day. I'm going to give them away. All the ones that I don't want, I'll give away to my community. And it's actually how I'm justifying them. So another update, I got my birth chart read, which was really fun. I was just thinking I would never spend money on that when I was younger. But then I was like, dude, whatever, you got to don't money. If you can buy a Pop Mart, you can get your birth chart read. So I got my birth chart read, which was just really fun. It was just, I don't know, I just love that shit. I love to just hear about it and whatnot. But that goes into kind of what I want to talk about today. Also, guys, I don't have a run of show for this, okay? We're just talking. We're going to simply just talk. I don't know what topics we'll land on or where we're going to end. But hey, listen or don't. So why have I taken so long? And believe me, this relates back to my birth chart. I have been really struggling with the idea of authenticity lately, or not struggling, but striving. I've been striving for it. I've been craving it. All I want to do is authentically present myself. Authentic. Okay. It's been this mantra in my mind. And the podcast, obviously, is very authentic to me, but I don't have anything that I want to talk about. Or like, I don't have one super over-encompassing topic that I can speak on for an hour authentically. And so that has just stopped me because I'm like, I don't have that passion to talk about anything for an hour. And then I talked to my team and it was like, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. And I've noticed this about myself. I have an idea of something in my head, or I can see how things will play out in its perfection, I guess, like its end game. So for example, a podcast. To me, like I've just seen podcasts and they have a run a show, an over-encompassing topic, and they wrap it all up, takes about an hour, and that's the expectation. And so I'm like, oh, I cannot meet that expectation, and therefore I cannot do this thing. But that's technically not true. I can do technically anything, right? And sometimes, not even sometimes, all the time, I get caught up on that. I get caught up on the idea and expectations of anything. And a lot of the times I don't start things because I'm like, oh, I won't be able to achieve that thing to my level of satisfaction. And that stops me from doing a lot of things, podcasts included. It's not like I'm stuck there. It's just, that's kind of my go-to. I would need to talk to someone or like brainstorm or be inspired by something to go another way. So for example, this podcast, I wasn't snapped out of that reality or expectation until somebody's like, well, you just don't have to do that. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're so right. But it's like, I don't even know that I'm in the thick of it until somebody actually snaps me out of it. My affirmations app just went off. Says, I recognize that my intuition is the universe talking to me. Cheers to that. So tying this back into my birth chart. So according to my birth chart, I am a Virgo sun, Gemini rising, Gemini ascendant. And apparently the feeling that I just described is very Virgo. I have no clue, guys, really, if that's accurate or not. But it's this idea that I guess a lot of Virgos see the potential of something, see the end goal, like the perfection, like what it could be, and strive for that. And when they can't achieve that, then it's like, oh. And I do feel like that. And then my Gemini and my rising my Gemini's and I totally misspoke. I'm a Virgo sun, Gemini moon, Gemini rising or ascendant. So apparently Gemini moon and Gemini ascendant are very it's very emotional based, curiosity, interest only, very emotional. I don't know. But it had me thinking because basically my birth chart came down to, you have to ask yourself, are you genuinely interested in this thing? Is this something you want to share? Cool, then do it. If it's not, it will not serve you. And when I was getting my chart read, it was funny to me because I was hearing her say all this stuff and I'm like, ooh, this is super resonating with me, but I don't know if it's like those horoscopes when people are like reading it, but it's like kind of generic. But I'm like, it's funny because I had just talked to my friends about, I really want to chase authenticity. I don't want to do the things that I like quote unquote should do. I just want to live a life without the pressure and like see where it goes and trust in my abilities that if things go wrong or whatever happens, I'll be able to figure it out. And then I get into this meeting and she's like, yeah, so you should just really only do things that are interested in, like that interest you, pique your interest. Don't be afraid to leave something, pivot, and then start a new thing. And if it does interest you, you have to just share it like that. Like your birth chart is just telling me people want to hear what you're interested in. And it's like, she's like, guarantees you'll pique someone's interest. I'm like, okay. She's like, yeah, you gotta share it. I'm like, okay, sure. Now, granted, I don't know if any of that's true, but it really did resonate with me because even at the end of the day, if any of that was false, I do want to live a life of authenticity, and just things that pique my interest. And sorry, my cat is biting me. Another interesting thing was that she was telling me about how this most recent eclipse was very important to my birth chart and how it was just like a new something, like we're stepping into something new, something entirely like the energy's new and shifting. And I just found it really funny and very coincidental because I actually traveled to go see the eclipse. I went to Texas. I flew to Dallas with my boyfriend and his dad, and we just literally watched the eclipse. And that was incredible. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, if you have the means and the time, it is worth, I think, just going to see natural phenomena. Like, it was incredible. But that was around the time where I was like, I want change. I do not want to live as I am. I'm ready to just step into the new me. But I was like, guys, am I being gaslit? Is this resonating with me because I'm, or maybe, hey, the universe is ready and I was supposed to get my birth chart read. Who knows? I think I've been so caught up with, oh God, I don't know. I've been so caught up with trying to appreciate life and do more and live as much as I can, do all these experiences, that I kind of got lost in the thick of it. Like, it's again that idea like, oh, I should do this thing rather than just, I don't know, sitting back and fucking relaxing for some time. And I am trying to just give myself permission to, I don't know, sit, wait, relax, let things come to me, I guess. But that is not that's a feeling that is not normal for me. I would say I'm constantly pushing or constantly, how do I describe this? To me, my life feels like I'm in a very vast, never-ending ocean, like pool of water, doesn't matter. And I'm just treading water always. And sometimes I'm like ahead of the game. I'm swimming really fast. And then a lot of the times I'm just treading water. But I'm never just coasting. I'm never just relaxing in this nice water. Like, if anything, I'm just down in the trenches. Like, there's waves crashing and I don't know, there's monsters underneath me. But I don't want to be like that. And I just know that that's all mental. Like, I think that my reality is obviously what I create, and I've created a really terrible system for myself. Granted, a productive system, a system that like has given me what I currently have and the success that I have, but I don't know if I'm at peace. Well, actually, I know I'm not at peace. I think there are moments in my life that I've cultivated peace, but it's not my day-to-day practice, and it's something I want so badly. So I'm trying to take it slower. And yeah, like I said, really believe in the notion of letting things come to me and just relaxing a little bit. Something that I've really learned or tried to learn is this idea that we obviously go through growth phases and like push phases. I don't know what else to call it. Like, you cannot always be relaxing and, finding your peace and nurturing. And then you can't always be pushing and trying to grow bigger and better, whatever. But it's the balance between the two. And I think I've only known push, push, push since forever. Literally forever, since I've ever been given the option to do things. And really, I would say just in these last couple of months, have I given myself this permission to be like, hey, like maybe because we worked so hard in the last, 10 years, we could just relax. We can just enjoy the work that we've put in for the last 10 years and just coast a little, and then we can just push again. But for now, I think we need to relax. And if you guys don't know my past, basically I was pre-med. I was going to school. I was working 2 part-time jobs, and I was streaming. And I say that, guys, I don't know how I did that. But I just did it. As with everything in life, you just do it, you know? I'm just like, wow, yeah, because I remember the mindset that I was in, which is like, basically I'm hustling, hustle. Like I need to do this. I need to do this. I will not allow myself to do anything less. And then obviously now I stream, and the beginning years of streaming were a lot of hustle and pushing myself out of my comfort zone all the time and whatnot. And I'm like, yeah, hey, why don't we relax a little? Which in turn will give me enough energy to push in the future when I'm ready. But it's been really hard to give myself the permission to like relax. It's foreign. It is a foreign land for me. It feels wrong. It feels wrong all the time. And I still don't really know exactly 100% how, but I'm learning. I have realized like I've been super burnt out for the last couple of years. I don't want to say unknowingly, but maybe like in denial. Okay. I was in denial about it. But I've realized, oh yeah, I was running on fumes for the last couple of years, and was just constantly pushing myself to do things that I didn't want to do. And I'm really, really lucky to be able to like take some space and be like, yeah, I'm burnt out. I need to take a break, because not everyone can do that. And so I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is time. Like I need to acknowledge that this is what burnt out feels like, and not let myself hit that again. So I've been trying to learn how to relax, which basically just means saying no all of the time to things, which also makes me feel really guilty. It's a whole circle. Like it really is the cycle of trying to set boundaries so that I'm not burnt out. And then I set boundaries, but I feel guilty for the boundaries that I'm setting, because I'm either not being productive enough or I'm not working hard enough in my mind, even though I know I am. So I'm like, Jesus, relax. Sorry, my nose is all stuffed up. It's funny to me because really, like at the end of the day, life isn't changing. Nothing's really changing for the most part. Like it's just your mentality. It's just me. And I look forward to the day that something shifts in me and I've changed, and therefore my life has changed, and I don't feel this way anymore. I don't feel exhausted all the time, and it comes easy to me. It's like second nature, this idea of balance and just like nurturing, but also productivity. I don't know. It all feels like I have a very unhealthy relationship with it all. But it's not like, I mean, I'm sure that a lot of people are this way and are currently feeling similarly. I think especially when it comes to productivity, I feel like so many of us, especially from what I've seen at least, like with my friend group, have a really, really unhealthy relationship with productivity. And I don't think it's like our faults. I do think it's, Well, that's capitalism, baby. I really do think that a lot of our media consumption and I guess system that we have in place, I just think even like looking at my parents, for example, which is obviously a completely different generation, but this idea that you work really hard and then one day you retire and then you can start enjoying life. Everything's like push, 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 work, 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 do more. So then eventually you can relax. And I really do understand where that mindset comes from, and I understand where that experience comes from. But it has me thinking about how life begins now. Life is right now. All you have is right now. And I just want to learn how to exist in this current system, but also enjoy. Like, I don't want to wake up when I'm 60 and be like, okay, finally, like, it's time to just enjoy life. It's time to enjoy all that I've worked for, because I don't know if I'm going to make it to 60, you know? I really want to try and be able to do all of that now. But I honestly just like, I don't know how. I don't know how to push the feeling of this ever looming like monster of productivity. I always try and come back to like that reframe of, okay, well, what does being productive look like? And being productive can look like so many different things. Another reason I really like skincare is because it's wellness, but it feels productive. I really do love working on myself in that regard. It's like why I love therapy, for example. I love setting a time, literally an hour every 1 or 2 weeks, to just be intentional with myself and my feelings. And I don't know, but that itches my productivity, my wellness journey. Like, I love wellness. I love taking care of myself. So it's funny that it has to be something pretty tangible or intentional for me to see it that way. Whereas taking a break from work, or I don't know, taking a day off, doesn't feel good for me. And I just need to somehow reframe it in my mind where I'm like, okay, skincare. Woo! It's the same as taking a day off. Yeah! I've been thinking about this because I travel a lot. I travel a lot for work, or I get some really cool travel opportunities. But a lot of the times when we travel, technically speaking, I'm supposed to vlog. I'm supposed to vlog the experience or showcase something, make my time there worth it, because I'm taking, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks off of stream. But all I want to do when I travel is be in the moment, be present, like experience this new culture, experience this new place. I don't really want to think about work. And that's really hard for me because I'm like, oh yeah, well, I should be filming because I'm not working. And the idea of taking 2 weeks off of streaming, that's what the fuck? Even just saying that out loud, that's not allowed. I feel like a lot of streamers have this idea in their head of how many days they can take off of streaming. And it's an arbitrary rule, but it's like, oh my God, I haven't streamed for 2 days. I have to stream. Oh my God, I haven't streamed for a week. Oh, I'm irrelevant. That's what vacations feel like. But I try to tell myself, hey, you know, people take 2 weeks off of work. I mean, they got 2 weeks paid vacation or whatever, you know what I'm talking about? Whatever it may be for you, whatever you got, what gig. But it's like, okay, 2 weeks. Yeah, right. And I don't know why I can't apply that to myself. I think this ties into also why I love reading so much. It's like, it feels like intentional time. I'm taking a break. I'm in a completely different world. I'm no longer thinking about me, my life, whatever. I'm immersed in a character, in a world, in whatever's happening. And it's very intentional time, I guess, away. And I am trying to figure out what else brings me that. I think going outside also brings me that feeling, which is another thing I'm struggling with. I live in Los Angeles, and it's kind of hard to go out here because the traffic's pretty bad and there's never parking and things are generally overcrowded. But I'm like, there has to be nice places. Like the state is beautiful, but growing up in Washington, going outside was very easy. There are hikes everywhere. There are lakes literally everywhere. And a random other thought I have is it's not always sunny there. And part of me feels like LA has this pressure to always be productive to me because it's always sunny. And I'm not really used to that. Like growing up in Washington, when it's a rainy day, cool. That's all it is. It's a rainy day. You stay indoors. Generally, you don't really go outside. You could go to a friend's house. You could go out, but like generally, And then a sunny day hits in Washington and everybody is taking advantage of it. Everybody's hanging out at Green Lake. It's time to go. It's time to go on a hike. It's time to go to the lake. And it is really easy to like not. It's really easy to feel like I'm supposed to take advantage of every day in Los Angeles because I have that feeling ingrained in me. But I'm determined. I am determined to make more of this current life that I live. I've been playing pickleball recently, and I'm not good at it. But going outside and just being active is very fun. I'm not competitive when it comes to sports, but honestly, I think that's a trick because I don't want to be competitive when it comes to sports. Because then it becomes a little too serious, for me. I want it to be casual. Yeah, I'm just playing pickleball. That's great. Okay, I feel like let's talk about something else. Let's shift. That was so sad. The last 32 minutes, such a bore. Boo. Negative. Okay, let's talk about happy things. Let's talk about what's going on. I'm looking outside right now. It is a beautiful sunny day. I'm looking at my balcony and it is like the sun is hitting these trees and they're blowing in the wind. And it is like, I wish I could paint looking at this. Part of me thinks that I should pick up a new hobby, but I feel like I do that far too often. I don't stick with any hobby. Why don't I stick with any hobby? I don't know. It is what it is. Well, actually, I do know. It's because I don't like doing things I'm not immediately good at. So, hey, that wasn't very positive. Let me pivot. Let's see. What's positive in my life? I just had a sleepover for the first time since probably high school last night to celebrate my friend's birthday. We hung out, watched The Grudge, and then we had a sleepover. And that was very fun, even though I had the worst sleep of my night. Why don't we have sleepovers anymore? Why don't we have sleepovers? Like, where did that go, guys? I feel like now is the greatest time to have a sleepover because you were having sleepovers when you were younger, right? And you're staying over at somebody else's house, like some parent's house, technically speaking, of your friend. But now people have their own apartments. Okay? That is the ideal place to have a sleepover, no? It's your own space. You go to bed at any time you want. You do whatever you want. Why don't we have sleepovers anymore? Bring back sleepovers. Because that shit was lit. I had a fun time. I am by no means an expert, but there are a lot of questions that you guys have asked. So I'm just going to go into that and see where it goes. All right. Let's see. I'm a longtime fan who has always loved your streams, and this podcast is a great way for me to connect with you in the community while I go about my daily life. Cheers! Currently, I've been dealing with a lot of feelings of jealousy towards friends and colleagues who have been given amazing opportunities both in school and in work. How do you deal with feelings of jealousy, either towards friends, lovers, etc.? I used to struggle a lot with jealousy when I was like in high school. I would say jealousy was like the main feeling I felt in high school. As I've grown up, I don't think I feel it as much, or like it's not such a large emotion in my life. But when I do feel it, I just ask myself, or not even ask, I am able to recognize that I'm jealous because it's something that I want. And then I just then ask myself, okay, what can I do to achieve that thing? So let's say that you're feeling jealous towards your friends for, I don't know, getting an opportunity in work, or whatever it may be, right? I recognize that jealousy in me is an indication of, hey, Jodi, you want that thing. What can we do to achieve what they're achieving? I just kind of use it as a recognition of, we really, really want this. We want to strive towards this. So what actions can be taken? But yeah, it's hard for me to really answer this because I don't know if I feel it as much anymore. And I'm trying to think about how I was combating that in high school. To be honest, I don't think I was. I think in high school I was just a miserable bitch. And then now I've just outgrown that. I think also just really sitting with the feeling of being really happy with your friends generally overrides the jealousy, for me at least. Like, I do love to just watch my friends succeed or do something that I know they love, and that brings me joy. And if I'm ever jealous about it, again, it's like, okay, Jodi, what do you want? Maybe you want this thing. Okay, what can we do about it? I think having an actionable item for yourself is, I don't know, takes your mind off of it. But also, I think don't ever shy away from your emotions. Don't shy away from the negative. Like, truly, truly, truly allow yourself to feel that and be like, oh, I'm feeling jealous. Okay. Don't try to like push that away. Obviously, don't treat your friends any differently or meanly, but be like, okay, I'm feeling jealous. Why am I feeling jealous? Do I want this thing? How can I achieve this thing? Is like the best way that I think you can go about it. Okay. This one is about sex and intimacy. So I'm not sure if this is a question that you can answer or not, but do you have any advice for being more comfortable with physical intimacy or being sexually active with your partner? I'm 22. I grew up in a household where sex was kind of taboo, and just generally seeing my sisters have had bad experiences with being sexually active. I'm now in my own relationship, and I'm trying to be comfortable with the idea of sex and being close with another person. It is really hard to challenge these views that I was brought up in and create a comfortable environment for myself with my partner. Do you have any advice for overcoming this? Have you ever gone through something similar? I have absolutely struggled with something similar. Advice that I tell everybody, though, that anybody, like if anyone ever asks me about sex, it's the same advice that I wish somebody told me when I was younger. If you do not know how to say no, and you are not comfortable saying no, you probably should not be sexually active. And that I just give to everyone because I wish I was strong enough to say no in some instances, but I wasn't, and I was scared. And I didn't know how, honestly. And that just put me into really uncomfortable scenarios. And that put me in places where I kind of was unsafe. So that, I think, is a really over-encompassing general rule of thumb that I would literally tell anyone. And then in terms of like challenging these views that you were brought up in and creating a comfortable environment with yourself and your partner, it's really like between you guys. Intimacy is something that you cultivate, right, between you and whoever. And also, like, sex is something you don't have to be comfortable with. There's no expectations. Like, if you want it, then you can strive for it. But I don't want you to think like, oh, I should. I'm not, you know what I mean? But I think that sex and intimacy really just come down to being with someone you're really comfortable with and being comfortable with saying, hey, I didn't like that, or hey, I really liked that, or even being able to say like, hey, I'm not in the mood. All of these things are so important, and it all boils down to being comfortable with whoever you are with. I think that as you are in your own relationship, you just have to get really comfortable with them in general, talking about all of these things in order to feel physically comfortable, at least in my experience. But I hope that helps. And I don't know. I just wish I could give you a hug because I know how hard it can be. Okay, last one, making new friends. Any advice on making friends or meeting new people? Even online, I find it hard to find new friends despite having similar interests. I don't know. LOL. Just anything would be cool. Thank you so much for your chill podcast. Hey, thank you. I feel like a lot of people are open to make new friends. And if you go in with that mindset, I think it makes it easier. Of course, some people are not going to be reciprocative, but there's a lot of people that are. And I guess when I'm trying to make new friends, I'm pretty intentional about it. Like the most recent example I can give you is I'm at a party and I look to my friends that I'm normally with and I go, hey guys, I'm going to go make new friends. Bye. And later on, they're like, where the hell did Jodi go? And I'm off mingling. I literally am approaching people and I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, who do you know here? What do? You want to grab a shot? I'll buy you a drink. I think it's fine to be intentional and like to go out of your way and ask people, hey, you want to play games? Hey, you want to do this? I know how hard it can be, but it's like you will make a new friend if you ask 20 people a question. Like one of those people are going to interest you and in return, like be interested in you. I feel like when you step into a space to just genuinely get to know someone, like that person wants to be known. I guess like the way that I see it is if I go up to someone and ask them a bunch of genuine, authentic questions to get to know them, then they'll be like, cool, okay, I'm down to talk about myself. Like you want to hear me, you want to see me, I want to be seen. And then eventually you'll run into people that you like their answers and you're like, oh yeah, I like this person. And then probably in return, they'll be like, yeah, I'm also down to hear you out, to see you. Like, what are you about? I do really think that like making friends is just super intentional when you're older. And it's not really a muscle that we practice because growing up, we're in school and then we're in college or whatever. We're at the we're at a play date. Everything, it was kind of easy. And going into adulthood, I think a lot of people struggle with this because now friendships become intentional when they didn't really used to be. Friends you would see every day at school, oh, now you have to hit them up and message them and put in a lot of effort. But I do think once you put in that effort with, of course, people who are reciprocative, then that's where the magic happens. But I just think there's so many people in the world that feel similarly where they're like, oh my God, I want to make new friends. Like, I feel like nobody's ever not wanting to make new friends for the most part. So if you go in with that mindset that generally people are pretty open-minded to making friends, cool. Also, you're not going to vibe with everyone. A lot of times you're honestly not going to vibe with someone, but there's going to be someone out there that you're like, yeah, we hit it off. Cheers. We're friends now. Also, if you are listening and you want your questions to be featured on this show, there are two ways. If you're listening to this on YouTube, you could just leave a comment. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple, you can shoot me an email at openbookwithqj@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. I really rambled here. So yeah, if you have any topics you guys want to talk about, feel free to let me know, because your girl is really over here spitballing. For more chapters, you can always subscribe or follow on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you enjoy listening to podcasts. It obviously really helps the algorithm if you leave a rating. So if you would be so kind, I would very much appreciate it. You can find me gaming, chatting, whatever it may be, at twitch.tv/QuarterJade. And my personal Twitter and Instagram, obviously QuarterJade, are great places because I'm pretty active on them. And again, thank you guys so much for listening. If you've made it this far, cheers. Cheers to us. I don't know what the hell I talked about in the last hour or so, but hey, you a real one if you're here. I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. I hope that you do something that makes you happy. All right. Bye.